this rejection is actually the basis of all violence. It maybe seems very strange how to, if one rejects to kill other people, is the basis of violence. But it is, because he didn't want to fight, because these were his relatives, his friends. Understand? If there would be strangers on the other side, he would kill them immediately, without second thought, because he was a trained killer. And he proved that he is merciless when killing is in question. In Khandava forest, for example, in Srimad-Bhagavatam, in 10th canto, it is explained how once Krishna and Arjuna went to help Agni to consume Khandava forest. Agni is a demigod of fire. He was consuming too much ghee in different sacrifices, different yagyas. And so because of too much ghee, he had indigestion. And to cure his indigestion, he had to consume some medicinal herbs from the special forest, Khandava. But this Khandava forest was under protection of Indra, the god of rains. So when Agni, the fire, wanted to consume the forest, burn the forest to get these herbs, Indra sent forth rains, and he couldn't burn the forest. So he still had these indigestion problems. So he turned to Krishna and Arjuna, to Arjuna actually, and asked him for help. And so Arjuna went with Krishna to help Agni to consume the forest. And when they came to the spot, Agni started to burn the forest to consume these herbs. But immediately Indra sent forth rains, like usually happened. But then Arjuna, with his arrows, he created a protective roof over the forest. So not even a drop of rain fell on the forest. And Agni could consume the forest. But not only that, all the animals that tried to escape from the burning forest were killed mercilessly by Arjuna, by his arrows. So he was trained killer, because Kshatriyas, these kings, they had to be merciless killers actually, in order to protect from these rascal people who want to usurp the state, or to be very strong people, not think twice if killing is involved. So he proved that he's like this, real Kshatriya. But when his relatives and friends were in question, he didn't want to apply this Kshatriya quality. But if there would be some strangers, he would kill them immediately without any second thought. So we can see that his so-called non-violence is the basis of all violence. And therefore Krishna says, although he tried to prove his point with different logical arguments and even quoting Shastra, Arjuna, in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's first response was, from where this impurity came upon you. It's not befitting of one who's striving for something higher. So this idea of yours, of your non-violence, is animalistic. Yes, animals wouldn't fight with their friends, actually. But someone whose duty is to fight, he fights. If there is a need for protection of of Dharma and Krishna's purpose. Yes. So first Krishna explained, you're not this body. This body is always changing, but the soul, the spiritual spark, is always the same. It's always the same. So don't lament over something that will be destroyed sooner or later. So this body will be destroyed. And here in the second chapter, further on, then he explains, don't be attached to these material things. Don't be attached. And attachment is shown through fear. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating is one of the, and this defending, actually. Defending is fearing also, it's bhaya. We try to protect our world because we fear that we lose existence. We don't want to lose existence because we are eternal by nature. So yes. And here Krishna explains, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So in Bible, Lord Jesus says, why you're afraid, you faithless people? How will you live? Look, birds in the sky, they don't strive very hard for their living, but still they're supported by the Lord. And look, the lilies on the field, they don't work very hard, but they're dressed more magnificently than the King Solomon. So, yes, we should be completely dependent on the Lord. This is the purport of this verse, that we should be dependent on the Lord. We shouldn't think that we can protect our life on the material platform. We cannot. And our duty is to protect our soul, and not just our soul, but the souls of our dependents. So if we are a mother or a father or a husband or a brahmachari also, we are responsible for those who take shelter of us somehow or other. So Lord Rishabhadeva says in 5th canto, Gurur nasasyat svajano nasasyat pita nasasyat janini nasasyat devam natatsyanna patisya sasyanna mochati aksamapiti mrityum. That we shouldn't become a father or mother or a teacher or even a deity or a relative if we are not able to deliver those who are dependent on us. Yes, so we should first, our foremost duty is to develop spiritual consciousness. That means our foremost duty is to surrender to Krishna. Is to surrender to Krishna and be without fear for our existence. We can check our heart. Do we have any fears in our heart for anything? If we do, that means that we don't trust Krishna. Because if we trust Krishna, then we know everything that happens in my life is Krishna's mercy. As Krishna explains this, it's explained in 10th canto Srimad-Bhagavatam. Tatenu kampam susamiksham mano punjana vatma kritam vipakam hritvak vapurbirde vidadam namasti jiveta mukti pate sadabhak. Yes, that devotee sees everything as Lord's mercy. Then whatever is happening to me is because of my past misdeeds. And I will still glorify my Lord from all my, with my words, my mind, my body, in any way. I will dedicate my life to the Lord. For example, one famous example is Sudama Vipra. Have you heard about this story of Sudama Vipra? Also from 10th canto Srimad-Bhagavatam. Sudama was a brahmana who was extremely poor. He was so poor that he and his wife, they had nothing to eat, actually. And it happened that Sudama was Krishna's schoolmate as a boy. And so his dedicated wife knew that Sudama was a schoolmate of Krishna. And so she said to him many times, please visit Krishna and ask him to give you something. But Sudama was devoted very much, a pure devotee of Krishna, and he didn't want to ask Krishna anything material. And also, his wife was very elevated, and she asked him to go to Krishna just for the sake of her husband, not for the sake of herself. But because Sudama was also merciful to his wife, because she was very emaciated, he decided maybe it's good to go to Krishna. And besides this, I haven't seen Krishna for a long time. It would be really nice to see my old friend. I long to see him, so I will go and visit him. But he said to his wife, that I don't have anything to offer to Krishna. I cannot come to Krishna empty-handed. I have to give him something. So his wife went to their neighbors to get some cheap rice. And she bound this cheap rice in one torn cloth and gave to Sudama to give the Supreme Personality of Godhead some handful of cheap rice tied in a torn cloth. So Sudama took this present for the Lord and went to Dwaraka. And when he reached Dwaraka, he was completely astonished, because everywhere there were enormous palaces there. And then he went to most magnificent palace of all. And of course Krishna saw him from far, and he ran to embrace his old friend. Yes. And he immediately took him to his chambers and put him on Rukmini's bed and washed his feet and sprinkled this water from his feet on every member of his family. Yes, and then he discussed with him long time, for hours, and Rukmini Devi herself fanned this Dhamma Brahmana with the chamara. He was really accepted gorgeously, practically, although he was so shabbily dressed and really looked like a beggar on the street, actually. And they discussed also how they went through their school days. Once there was a storm when they were in school in Gurukula at Sandipani Muni's school. Then there was a big storm, and they were out in the forest to collect wood for cooking purposes. And because of this storm, they lost their way, and they stayed all night in the forest. And Sandipani Muni was really worried where the boys are. They went to the forest for my sake, and they didn't return. So they all went out and searched for Krishna and Sudama. And finally they found them. And the Guru was very satisfied with them, how much they underwent for his purpose. And he blessed them. So they discussed such things with great pleasure. And then Krishna asked him, what did you bring to me? And he was extremely ashamed, because he saw that Krishna is living in such opulence. Everything was in gold and many jewels and so on. So how and most delicious food was there. So how can he give him some chipped rice in torn cloth? And he just looked down and he didn't say anything. But Krishna insisted. And then because Sudama didn't say anything, he was very ashamed. More Krishna insisted, more ashamed he was. So he just snatched this torn cloth from Sudama and said, oh, you see how wonderful. This most delicious rice you brought to me. You're a really nice friend. And then he took a handful of this rice and threw it in his mouth. And he was really extremely satisfied with this rice. How tasteful. I have never tasted such a wonderful food. He said. It's interesting, because of love, everything becomes tasteful for the Lord. He actually tastes love. There is many other examples how he tastes love. For example, when he came to Hastinapur to make peaceful arrangement for peace with Duryodhana before the Kurukshetra war, Duryodhana knew that Krishna is fond of kirtan, and that should be very wonderful reception made for Krishna. So he prepared everything perfectly for Krishna. He hired a kirtan band that they waited Krishna with Hare Krishna kirtan. And then he had made special golden throne, new, just for Krishna. Everything for Krishna. Most delicious foods for Krishna, cooked just for him, for his pleasure. And he wanted, of course, Krishna to enjoy, and everyone was serving Krishna from all sides, fanning him and speaking very nicely and so on. But Krishna didn't want to accept anything. He said that because you don't love me, I don't need these things. And then he went to Vidura. And there are different versions of this story. But one of the versions is that Vidura wasn't at home even at that time. Only his wife was there. And she was so nervous because Krishna suddenly appeared and she didn't prepare anything for Krishna. She didn't knew that Krishna is arriving. So she was peeling bananas and throwing bananas away and giving peels to Krishna. But Krishna happily ate these banana peels because they were offered with love. But those delicious feast offered by Duryodhana was not accepted by him. So we can see that if we do devotional service, even service for Krishna, let us say service, not devotional, service for Krishna, with some idea that I will get something from Krishna, Krishna will not accept it. Yes, because it's offered with some selfish purpose in mind. So, and for example, Lord Chaitanya, when he heard that Raghunath Das Goswami is eating just some leftovers that were thrown away because they started to rot from Jagannath Prasad, that even cows, they didn't want to eat these leftovers anymore. He washed this decomposed rice and put a little bit of salt on them that he can swallow them up. Lord Chaitanya came and took forcefully this rice from Raghunath Das Goswami and ate it with great delight. And he said that he never tasted such delicious food before. So Krishna, in the same way, he tasted this chipped rice of Sudama Vipra with great delight because he knew that he loves me. And then when he tried to take a second handful of this chipped rice, he was stopped by Rukmini Devi. And she said that this is enough. This is more than enough for you blessed him already too much. And so he went home. How much time we have? Nothing more. Okay. So he didn't have heart to ask anything from Krishna, Sudama. So he went away home without asking anything. And he was thinking, Jai Shri Prahlad Narsingha ki Jai, Shri Lakshmi Narsingha ki Jai. He was wondering, what will I say my wife? I didn't ask Krishna. I went to Dwaraka all this way just to ask Krishna for something, but I didn't. What will I say to my wife? But when he approached his home, everything was different. And he thought that he lost his way because there was a great palace there and servants waited for him and accepted him with great honor. And then he saw his wife. At that time, his wife was really gorgeously looking. She was not in shabby dress and emaciated like before. But he was still in his old shabby dress, torn dress, and she, it is explained by our acharyas, only for her to recognize him. And then she explained that everything just appeared from the sky. all these opulences and this great palace and everything. And it is explained that his wealth of Sudama became greater than the wealth of demigods. But even though he wasn't attached to it, he still was sleeping on the floor like before, although he has magnificent rooms and bedsteads and so on. He was still sleeping on the floor. And it is explained that this opulence given by Krishna cannot be compared to what Sudama gave to Krishna. Why do you think it's so? So Sudama's gift of some chipped rice in torn cloth worth more than all these palaces and gold and rubies and lapis lazuli and so on. Why do you think it's so? Yes, but we can say that also Krishna is devoted to his devotees. Any other idea? Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in 4th chapter, Ye ata mam prapadante tamstataiva bhajamaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. So, Sudama gave to Krishna more than he had, because his wife had to beg for this rice. So he didn't have this rice. He gave Krishna more than he had. But Krishna cannot give more than he has. You understand? Because he's the proprietor of everything. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram says in 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am the proprietor of everything. So he cannot give in the same way to Sudama as he gave to him. You understand? He couldn't give more than he has. Because everything is in his possession. So if we are devotees, if we become devotees, Krishna will be forever indebted. And also to the gopis, he said the same. Let your devotion to me be your compensation. I cannot repay you even in the lifetime of Brahma. Yes, because gopis left their homes, their parents, their family members, their brothers and sisters, and they left everyone and just ran to Krishna. But Krishna, he said to them, I cannot leave my mother and father. I cannot leave my brother. So I cannot repay you in the same way you approached me. So let your love be your compensation. So we should purchase Krishna with our love. Yes. This is the only thing that buys Krishna, actually. Nothing else. No prayers will be in Krishna's satisfaction if there is a tinge of selfishness in our heart. So we should pray for Krishna that we can become an instrument in his hands. That should be our prayer. Not give me good wife, good husband, good children, good job, good this, good that. This will be just a source of misery, as we said. Yes, this good job, good husband, good wife, everything will be a source of misery. But if you become a devotee of Krishna, devotee of his devotee, then we'll always be blissful, actually. This is a source of bliss. Only bhakti gives bliss. Only service gives bliss. Also in this world, if you serve, if you make happy someone you really love, this makes you the most happy, isn't it? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Is there any question or comment? Everything is clear? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande. Hari Bol. Please accept my humble obeisance.